Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Monday night Pink Power team call. I am Eilers-Heffner. I am a Sapphire Ambassador, and I am honored to speak to you tonight. And I want you to know that I'm not pointing any fingers at anyone over here. I am definitely reflecting on myself and my own evaluation, my own habits, my own discipline. And so as I've been rolling these thoughts around in my head and I have found them beneficial and being able to set a plan, I wanted to bring that to you as well. So first of all, do I have your permission? You guys are gonna have to like wave your hands or something because I don't even see the chat. Um, if it's okay to just speak candidly and to not take anything personally and know that I'm not like stepping on toes to be mean, but I'm here to provide some challenges to you in order for you to further your business. You wouldn't be on a call like this if you didn't have goals and a dream and want to move forward, right? Okay, I got one yes, so I'm gonna go with that I can see so far. I saw a couple heads shaking. So we're gonna go with that. Um, so I wanted to talk about a little bit about how we're evaluating ourselves, right? Are we going, well, I would be more successful if my upline did this. Well, I would be more successful if the economy was a certain way. I would be more successful if the company did something, which I don't know what we could ever ask Plexus to do differently because they are amazing and generous and have given us amazing tools. We have amazing training too, right? In Pink Power, in individual teams. And so we have so much at our fingertips, but I know that it's easy to think, well, I would be more successful if I would be, well, I would be more successful if I talked to more people, if I didn't forget people when I put them in my planner and then don't follow up with them. I would be more successful, especially when I look back and I see that someone did ask for more information. I let them fall to the wayside and now they're with some other company building a business, right? So here's the thing too. I'm still successful even though that has happened to me. It's okay. We can learn from that and go and grow, right? So it's easy to think I would be more successful if fill in the blank. However, that's just reinforcing negative patterns in our brain. It puts us right down this trail of blaming. It gives us this victimhood mindset. I mean, just all these horrible things. And so the thing that we can focus on is what I can control. Like my goals for this month have changed to how many events can I host? How many people can I offer this event to? I can't control saying yes to an event, but I can certainly get that message out there and offer it and encourage and tell them why and give them the what's in it for them. That's something I can control. Okay. How do we respond to change? So I know that Plexus, kind of recently, right, changed the comp plan a little bit, but when you look at the math and the numbers, it's actually to our favor. It's better. It's raising the pay point amount, right? We get paid more per pay point. And so, but it was a change. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? So, how do we respond to change? Is that something that shuts you down? Is it something that you just need to think about for a day or two and wrap your brain around and then move forward? Does it totally derail you? Does it send you in a negative spiral? Like, those are things to evaluate is how do we respond to changes? And then what can we do about it? So, another thing is that you could just have a change in your personal life and then you have to figure out how you're going to change when you do your Plexus business or how other systems in your home are going to work because of a big change, right? I have changed when I work my Plexus, how I work my Plexus, so to speak, how like at different times, depending on the stages of my kids, depending on my, I'm a physical therapist by trade. So depending on how much I was working and when I was working, I used to just rush home and put my kids to bed and spend that little bit of time with them. And then I could work on Plexus. And then when they got a little older, I would stay at work because my husband was home with the kids and I would do my Plexus work before I ever went home because it was less distracting, right? So there can be changes in your life and you can allow it to derail or you can say, okay, what is the next best step? What is the next pivot? Playing games with your kids, like board games and stuff, can really help them to learn this too. I don't know if anyone is a Settlers fan. We like Settlers. We've gotten our kids playing it. Some of our kids like it, some of ours don't. One of our kids were like, you have to play. We just make her play. And she's like, I hate this game. This game is stupid, you know? And I said, you know what? I didn't like this game at first either because I wasn't good at it. I didn't understand the strategy. I had to play for a while, watch how my husband would play. I'm like, watch how daddy plays. You can learn a lot. And so we were playing last night and she was frustrated with a couple moves. I said, it's okay. What's the next best step? What's your next best placement of your pieces? What's the next best thing you can do? Instead of focusing on how someone took my spot over here, it was what is the next best step that we can work on? Okay. And keeping that at the forefront. What is the next best step? In so many things in our life though, right? I feel like this is more than just a plexus call. This is like welcome to life call. And where are we honing in? Are we reacting emotionally and just depending on these emotions, or are we going to react with action? And when we can get into action, it doesn't mean to totally ignore emotions. It doesn't mean not to deal with tough situations in our life. But in this business, you kind of have to put the emotion aside and go. I remember Natalie Dolan did this call a long time ago, and she'd say, like, people would be like, not interested, and she'd go, well, that's weird, and then move on. And that has stuck with me, right? Stuck with me, like, oh, that's weird. Okay. And it's okay. Like, just you just keep going. You don't take on that emotion and let it derail you. You do the next best step. You do the next action step and focusing on that. And really looking for what we can control in our personal life, what we can control in our business. Again, I can send out 100 messages. That doesn't mean I can force 100 people to talk back to me, but I can get this amazing opportunity out. And that is what we want to do. So that being said, I have to screen share and show you something because it's one, hilarious and makes a very strong point. Okay. I don't know if anybody follows the No Shame Sales Game, and she has discovered some really interesting things. Now, brace yourselves. I tried to find one that didn't have any bad words. There's one bad word at the very end. Okay, and I had to make sure that the sound will play.
Here's a little of what I experienced in the last 7 weeks of trying urine therapy. Here's a little bit of what I did every day. Every morning, I collected my urine, and then I started with massaging.
I'm not knocking the woman who's using urine therapy. It's not my cup of urine, but it's an example that there are some of you who are sitting there on the sidelines overthinking all of your content because what will people think? It's weird. I'm worried, whatever. Meanwhile, there is a woman who is collecting her urine every morning, not only in private, but then sharing it with the world about how she rubs it into her body to help her locked elbow. What's even more interesting is that there are people in the comments saying, thanks for sharing. I love doing this. I'm less and less reluctant to try this. Wow. And asking her questions about her urine therapy. That is unconventional at best. You can talk about your business. There is somebody for everybody. Stop being a dodo bird. Get out there and do the damn thing.
Okay. Stop sharing. Okay. Huge point taken right there, right? There are people out there sharing bizarre, weird, crazy, maybe in our opinion, things. And we're afraid to tell people that their life could be changed by taking a few amazing, simple products and sharing those with people and making an extra stream of income for their family and literally change their family's trajectory. I mean, look at Fallon, you guys. She didn't have shoes for all of her kids all at the same time and couldn't leave her house. And look at her now. How can we keep that a secret? People are out there sharing their urine therapy for the love. I'm pretty sure we can handle this. So I want you to stick that in your brain and stop overthinking and just do something. Don't worry about everything being so perfect all of the time, and get it out there. I'm a physical therapist. The first 3 years of my practice, I'm sure I sucked. I'm sure of it. I look back now, I'm like, oh, I'm sure I did some stuff wrong. I'm sure I didn't help people to the ability that I can now, 20 years, 21 years later, right? It's okay. You're not going to harm anybody by talking about your opportunity in your business. And if you want to learn how to talk to people better, if you haven't read this, read the book. It's like you could read the whole book in like an hour, I think. I don't know. It's not even full pages, and the whole book is the size of my hand. Lord help us all, you guys. We have the tools. Sorry, I'm getting excitable. All right. So that being said, I also like that we can determine the size of who we are by the size of the problem that gets us down. And when you think, oh, you know, these people said no, or they ignored my message, or, well, they quit after they ordered for a month. Are you going to let the size of that problem get you down? That's a pretty minor problem. I don't know about you, but I have dealt with a lot bigger problems than that. PT school. I'm going to use this example. Rochelle and Jackie are on here. Lauren's a PT. I'm sure I have some other PTs on here. There was never a time in PT school that there was something so challenging that I'm like, well, here's my books. I'm done and peace out. Do you know how hard PT school was? It was extremely difficult, grueling pace of work to have to complete exams and practicals and quizzes and projects in the same day for like 3 classes. And I am not exaggerating. It was insane. And even though it was hard and it was challenging, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I can do it, it never was a serious thought. I'm sure it was like a fleeting thought. It was never a serious thought to go turn in myself and say, I'm done. But yet we do that when people say, oh, I don't want your probiotics. Oh, sorry, don't talk to me about extra income. That's on them, y'all. That is on them, that they can't see what we have, but it's our job to cast the vision and to show up, 1, for ourselves, and 2, so they know what is out there for them. Okay. All right. So let's move on to habits. We can have really good habits and we can have really bad habits. We can have habits that serve us and we can have habits that just can shatter our whole day. And let me tell you, I've been in a battle for the last 3 months probably of balancing these bad habits, good habits, I'm just being honest. I am not like in this perfect, like regimented self right now. Not like I like to be. And I'm pretty disciplined. I have pretty good habits. When I read Atomic Habits the first time, I was like, this is awesome because I do a lot of this stuff. And it was so encouraging to see, like, oh, I do this. I'm on the right track. Right? And that was really good for my personality, actually, to have that encouragement. I don't know if I read that right now, if I would feel the same. That's me being honest. But what I do know is that I can evaluate and I can change my habits because I've done it before and I've done tough stuff before and I can do it again. I did PT school. I have 4 children. I have worked full time and grown a business. I have supported my husband through a 2nd degree in college. Like I've done some tough stuff. You know, I used to run half marathons. I never got further than that because my body gave out. But hey, running a half marathon is nothing to sneeze at. My friends, couple, there, you know, my husband's like, they just ran an ultra marathon. I'm like, so I could do that. He looks at me, I'm like, well, I could do that if my joints would let me, right? Like if we can think of something in that's my thing that I'm like, so that's not a big deal. I could do that if my knee didn't suck, right? And so what is it in your life that you can look at and go, I can do that. You need to remind yourself of that. So when you're sitting down to send your messages, you can send your messages. It's not that hard. It's not hard. It's discipline. All right. Okay. Grit, developing grit. If you haven't read or listened on Audible to the Grit book by Angela Duckworth, it's something to tuck away in the back of your brain, listen to it for fun. Unless I'm the only one that will think it's fun. I listen to it when I'm in the shower. Great book. She really talks about the research behind developing grit. We have the opportunity to develop grit. And I'm not even saying it's in this business. It could be something completely different because it's going to transpire over to our businesses too. What habits are holding us back? Is scrolling holding you back? Is just this sitting there going, I don't know who to talk to today, holding you back? Is I forgot to follow up with that person and now they joined another company, thought holding you back? Those are easy habits to change. Go to your friends list on Facebook and just start writing down names, then talk to those people over the next week. Write down 100 names. Work through that list. Your sponsor can help you with this too. Like, that's just one thing that I do. Looking at what's shaping us, looking at our working environment. I think that, like, I like to work in my office. Sometimes I work in my office and I feel too alone, extrovert over here. And so I don't want to be away from my family in my office where I feel all alone. So I'll go work on the kitchen island where I'm around all of them and I can hear them and I can still be a part of it, but I can't sit on the couch with them. If I sit on the couch, it's over. It's over. Okay. That's the environment I can't be productive in. And you might be the same way. You might be like, or you might be the opposite. You might be like, I gotta go shut the door. I gotta put on the noise canceling headphones. Like, find what works for you. Figure out that environment that's gonna allow you to focus and be productive and get it done. Okay. And it doesn't have to be what someone else is. Okay. That's why God made us all so individual. It's okay. You find what works for you. My office is sort of picked up and clean. Okay. But I got a pile over here on the floor that I'm ignoring for now. And guess what? I'm okay with that. I am completely okay with that. And then there'll be a day where I'm not okay with it and it'll be done in 10 minutes. Not a big deal. You might be a person that's like, nope, there's a pile on the floor, have to take care of it. Well, guess what? Set yourself a timer and get it done and then move on, because you can't let a pile of papers on the floor totally limit you from getting what you need to get done. Okay. Pay yourself first. Paying IPA, that's paying ourselves first. What are you listening to for podcasts, your Audible books, the news, the media? There's a great podcast that I love. I love this girl's passion. She brings so much truth to current culture stuff. But I have to limit listening to her because I get fired up and I get upset and I feel like, oh my gosh, this world is crazy. That is not a mindset that's going to serve me well. And so I can't listen to it on a regular basis, right? I have to put a boundary around that and put it aside, even though I know what she's saying is amazing, right? But I can't let that distract me right now. I have goals. Looking at who you're hanging out with. And, Brenda Martin put up a great reel today. She said, if she walks into a room of women bashing their husbands, she's out of there. That's not what she wants to be around. All husbands have their faults. It's not our job to advertise that. And she's out. She's like, I love my husband. He has my heart and I will protect him. It was a great reel, right? And that's the kind of thing we need to apply to these other areas of our life too, right? People talking about partying over the weekend or whatever. If that's not you, get out. Don't entertain it. Just protect yourself. And then if you want to expand the positive people in your life, I love my gym. It is a group of people that want to work hard. I mean, I'm still becoming friends with them because people are in and they're busting out to go get to work, but being around these people that are pushing themselves every day at 5:45 in the freaking morning, oh my goodness, because they have goals in their life, is so encouraging to just be around that, right? And we all encourage each other. And I'm over there. Some days I'm like, okay, I'm here. I made it. Am I really pushing myself? No, I'm not. Elizabeth, like, get going. You're not pushing yourself. Why are you here if you're not going to make it worth your time? Why are you doing your IPA if you're not going to make it worth your time? There's a question. All right. Volunteering, you can meet great people volunteering. There's networking forums and communities. Go find some people that have some goals. expand your network. And Leah has talked so many times about this and done an amazing job of meeting people on Facebook groups. So if you miss those, do that because that is incredible. All right. And then my last topic for tonight is about discipline. And I want to share with you. This one. Okay, I love this one.
People don't know this, but there's a brain structure called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. What's interesting about this brain area is there are now a lot of data in humans showing that when people do something they don't want to do, like add 3 hours of exercise per day or per week, or when people who are trying to diet and lose weight resist eating something. Right. When people do anything that they, and this is the important part, that they don't want to do. It's not about adding more work. It's about adding more work that you don't want to do. Yes. This brain area gets bigger. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex, it's larger in athletes. It's especially large or grows larger in people that see themselves as challenged and overcome some challenge. And in people that live a very long time, this area keeps its size. In many ways, scientists are starting to think of the anterior mid-cingulate cortex not just as one of the seats of willpower, but perhaps actually the seat of the will to live. Now we're talking. And when I learned about the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, I was like almost out of my seat. When I started seeing the data on the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, I was like, whoa. This is interesting. All the data point to the fact that we can build this area up as quickly as we build it up. If we don't continue to invest in things that are hard for us, that we don't want to do. Like if you love the ice bath, yeah, I love the ice bath. You go from 1 minute to 10 minutes. Guess what? Your anterior mid-cingulate cortex did not grow. But if you hate the cold water, if you're afraid of drowning and you get into water, and most people don't know this, but there's a
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So after I heard of this particular part of our brain, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, I'm Googling and found like PubMed articles and I'm reading. I mean, it is incredible. And I'm not doing a science lesson. I'm just not. I could, but I'm not. Super fascinating. And I will tell you, I have this relation of that anterior mid-cingulate cortex being related to longevity, like longevity of our life. I've been a physical therapist a long time. When I worked in the hospital, I could tell I would rather, to this day, I would rather go work with an 80 and up old person than a 50 or 60-year-old, hands down. And give me someone younger than me, forget it. No. Not interested in, unless they were like car accident, motorcycle, snowmobile accident, like broken bones, fine, because that wasn't, but people getting their toes chopped off because they haven't cared for their body and they are losing toes at 42 years old. They have such little motivation and goal to live. Now I'm speaking generally, this is not 100% of people, but if I'm reading charts, okay, hands down, I will choose the 90-year-old over the 40-year-old, hands down. Okay, that's in the hospital. It's a little different. The patients that don't look like patients, those are the people with the big brains. Okay, they're the ones that are going to continue to live because they just do it. They just keep going. You just do it. That Nike really has coined that so well, right? You just do it. You don't have to want to do your IPA. You don't have to want to read the book. You don't have to want to watch the video. You don't have to want to fill out your coaching sheet to share with your upline to do it. You don't have to want to do that. If we live by what we wanted, we would all die because our human nature is not to do all these things that are hard to do, right? Just do it. And did you hear that? If you like the ice bath, then your brain didn't grow. So put yourself in positions in order to push yourself and to do something you don't really want. I don't want to get up and do a 5 a.m. power hour tomorrow. I don't. But you know what? I need to for my discipline, for my business, for showing up for myself, all of those things. Okay. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So what matters so importantly is how we're reacting to what is happening around us. How are we reacting? Okay. You can, like, do you have children? Do you want to deal with them having conflict? Do you want to deal with them not doing their homework? Do you want to deal with them not doing their chores? No, but we do it anyway. We don't get to tap out. Why do we think we can do that to ourselves? We have to show up for ourselves too. Okay. And it's related to your will to live. If there is no other motivation to go do something you don't want to do, that's it. All right. And then like reset. Okay, I'm trying this. So I have nothing to report because today was my first one. I did a full 3-day reset 2 weeks ago. Last week, I just was like, I just did a reset, should have done it, should have pushed myself. Today, I did a 1-day reset. Do I really want to do a reset and feel hungry all day long? Because I'm hungry all 3 days. I feel hungry. No, but I want the discipline, but I want the healing, but I want to feel good, but I want to feel accomplished. I mean, I am over here drinking my broth for dinner going, I don't like this right now. Sipping away. Okay. You don't have to want to do stuff to do it. My son, one of them, he is big on, I don't want to, it doesn't matter. You have to do it anyway. I mean, that is my, like, his like knee-jerk response is, I don't want to. You don't have to want to, you still have to do it. You don't have to want to. That's okay. You don't have to want to. So he's going to have a big brain. He already is super smart. He's going to have this huge brain. Okay. And then, so Jackie and I were kind of texting before this call, and she sent me this quote, and this is what I'm going to end on. How many uncomfortable things without results will you do before you allow it to discourage you? Are you going to let, oh, I did these 3 things and it didn't work, so now I'm done. This isn't for me. Do you know how many uncomfortable things we did in PT school without results or bad results or failed a practical or whatever, and we didn't stop going to PT school? Okay. You don't, in the middle of laboring for birthing your child, go, okay, I'm done. I changed my mind. No, you keep going, right? So it may not be all rainbows and sunshine, but it doesn't matter because you're growing your tenacity, you're growing your grit, and you're growing your brain, which is increasing your will to live. So go for it, folks. Okay, go for it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you so much, and have a good night.